Hey, this is Notser. This is the Tier 5 German cruiser Königsberg. It has 9 150mm guns, 12 torpedoes, 22 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 12 kilometers, top speed 32.5 knots, total health 24,300. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase main battery accuracy, reduce the chance of flooded fire. For my commander, situation awareness and faster turret traverse. We're on the map New Dawn, and it's been a while since I've been in this German cruiser. It's been, 8 months. Yeah, well, what can I say? I had to work through the German cruiser line. But I'm back, and the commander is unskilled. You're actually pretty lucky because I had a good game with a untrained, basically. This is a German cruiser commander that I got from some other cruiser, so I retrained it cheaply because it only has like 2 or 3 skills. One game is going to get me a full respec. I'm not going to waste credits. Are you mad? I'm like Scrooge McDuck, okay? I've got to have all that money, honey. But it worked out that we actually got 2 good, fantastic games, entertaining games, I would say, in this beautiful German cruiser, and we're gonna explain and showcase those games. Now, obviously there's an enemy battleship, and we were engaging it for a little bit, but that's not the real prize. The German cruiser line really wants to use AP, and this enemy Furutaka is the first volunteer for a broadside AP. Conveniently, the HE sets the target on fire, and he puts the fire out. Cool. So now he's going to be susceptible to anyone who follows up with HE, and now he will burn for at least 45 seconds. And we're doing pretty good AP damage. Now you notice he's about, 7.4 seconds out, and I love that little hitch in the lag or the latency of the server or whatever, I don't know what it is, but we're giving about 1.5, 1.75 lead, which would equate to 11, 12-ish. Plus he's, moving away or slowing down. If a target's slowing down, then you need to compensate, and the only way you're going to know that a target is going slower than the perceived or the estimation is to just be comfortable with the top speed of the target, how it should look at range, and what it is ultimately going to drop down to at 3/4 speed, half speed, that sort of thing. But eventually he gets the idea, you know what, this is a bad idea, let's get out of the area. But because we're a German cruiser, our range is fantastic. I'm already by A to support the assault. I'm engaging the Wyoming with my HE, hoping to get a fire. It's sort of a blind shot behind an island. They're not easy, but if you can visualize the outcome that you would want, then you can overcome the difficult shot that is behind an island, and that's not our primary target anymore. The primary target is the Kamikaze R that showed himself. I chose to use my hydroacoustic. The only way I can fail is if I take a torpedo, and I don't want to take a torpedo. So I used it preemptively because there was an enemy destroyer in the area. It was an obvious torpedo attack. It helped the Carl. I don't know if he used his hydro. I can't even remember if the Carl has hydro, but I'm going to assume that most hydro skills are underused because I gotta keep it just for the right time. Well, the right time is anytime you run into a destroyer, and this guy, he's not feeling good. Clearly, he doesn't have last stand. He is basically stationary at the edge of the capture point. And look at that, he's actually detonated. And if I had to be detonated, I would prefer it when my target was gonna die in one shell, because that's just free flags to protect yourself for the future. So, maybe it's a bonus that he got detonation. Now, this enemy Wyoming is alone. He felt like, hey, I got a destroyer, buddy. He was taking A. Not anymore. He is showing a perfect broadside. We could switch to AP, but he's just so low. One more salvo surely will be enough. And I do eventually switch to AP. However, he burns down to my fire, and that's the first kill of the game for us. That enemy Furutaka shows up. Unfortunately, he drops off just as we ranged in a shot. I had no idea that the AP would become the perfect shell type for the Furutaka. I was purely switching to it because I noticed that the battleship was maintaining a steady broadside. And honestly, I could have swapped earlier, but I guess I underestimated just how much extra damage I would gain from the AP, or maybe I overestimated how much damage the HE was doing. Either way, we got the kill. The Furutaka, he shows back up. He's sort of moving away at an angle, so we have the guns elevated slightly. And it's just such a long shot, right? And you notice the island gets in the way when you're trying to range in, and every time you see me sort of poke out, I'm trying to get the seconds to the target. And of course, you use the seconds to target to design a plan of lead, and obviously this player uses slowing down, and he slowed right down into a citadel from a friendly, which is great for our team. Now, you remember when I said I don't like AC strategies? If I didn't, it was one of the recordings. I don't like it when you split your focus and you allow the enemy team to get the center and a close point. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting C. Because they have B and C, they can reinforce both points relatively easy, whereas on our team, not so much. We've lost control of C. And there are a couple cruisers that I would love to kill. In fact, I would love to kill that enemy battleship. It only has 2,000 hit points, the Myogi. Unfortunately, he's just outside of my range, so we're going to take the next best thing, my counterpart. The Königsberg is squishy, I would say. That's an appropriate word to use to describe the ship. So anytime you get an opportunity to fire AP, you must. A citadel for 6,800 feels pretty good. Feels just right. And I was a little hesitant. You notice I'm leading the charge. You know what? When am I not leading the charge, right? It just seems like people want to play the game a lot slower than I do. And I want to push the tempo. I want to keep the pressure up. I know that I can basically play the game faster than most enemies can play or are willing to play it. And that's an advantage. If you understand what you're going to do before the event occurs, you can continue to keep the pace up and counter the enemy's counter. And that's sort of what you try and look for. And I felt like if I was going to go south and avoid taking B, the team would probably be sluggish in capturing B, and I would also overextend and be out in the open with no protection. So I decided, let's go for B. Let's make sure we have a 2-to-1 advantage on base captures and see if we can get a citadel, or 2, or 3. And I try and fire on the enemy cruiser, and unfortunately I aimed just a little bit too high. The second salvo, he's not going to let me have that easy shot. He turns into it, much harder to hit. We got an enemy battleship, 2 enemy battleships, and we got an enemy St. Louis, which is basically a battleship with a smaller caliber. And that's how you should lead the St. Louis if you're ever engaging it. It's a really, really slow cruiser. So 20 knots, 1-to-1, that's about where you want to be. But for this enemy Königsberg, you want to be 1.5 at the time. And based on his direction, you should try and lead him. Obviously, he's moving away. He does not want me to try and fire AP at a broadside. He's engaging my target. There's no way I could safely capture the base, so I'm going to just give up on that. Focus 100% on avoiding taking damage. I waited to use damage control until I was right up against the island. It's a breather. It gives me a little bit of time to not take HE, and maybe the enemy will change his targets. You would be surprised how many people have such a short attention span and engage a different target. We get a citadel for 5,900. He's turning away. It still looks accurate. Unfortunately, it was AP, and it was just absorbed by the back guns. The back guns on the German cruisers take up a lot of real estate. I'll just say it like that. But he's overturning. He's either trying to show a perfect broadside so I can citadel him and feel like a hero, or he was not going to get out there and just tried to get an angle for his turrets. Either way, it felt good to get a citadel. It was overkill, very much so overkill. And an enemy Langley shows up, just out of the blue. The U.S. aircraft carriers are pathetically slow. These guys are the slowest ships in the game by far. They're not going to get away, and you definitely want to fire AP because just look at how much damage you do. Now, you want to make sure it doesn't overpin. They actually have so little armor, it will overpin. So you need to make sure it's deep in the bows of the hull, really low on the water, so it hits all the engines and slows down, that sort of thing. But every single salvo, we're at least getting one. I'm ready to finish him off with this salvo. Yeah, get him. No, he's left on 2,000, and we have a friendly cruiser that, guess what? The friendly cruiser. He gets the kill. The Carl, you again. Actually, I don't know if the Carl got the kill. Maybe it was someone in the back. Either way, the guy's dead, right? We did 80 or 90% of his health pool. Should be satisfied with that. I was actually playing this particular ship because I was working on the Arpeggio Blue Steel, the low tier. I've already earned a high tier, of course. I mean, I'm Notser. I'm pretty successful. I would say it's relatively easy to do consistent damage. So I figured, you know what? Let's showcase some German cruisers. We haven't seen them in a while. In fact, we haven't played this ship since the skill changes, which was, oh man, was that 3 patches ago? The patches come fast and furious, and I really appreciate that. But man, it all blurs together when you're making content all the time. So as we're working our way towards the enemy, there's really nothing to talk about in the game. The only thing I would say about this particular ship, it's the first German cruiser that really feels like, yeah, AP's really good. We got great range. We don't want to show our side too much, and you should get used to that in a German cruiser. But you do a lot of AP damage in a broadside, no matter the target, and you should try and focus on that. So as we are working towards the enemies, I was hoping to catch up with the St. Louis. The St. Louis's last known position was on the east side of C. We clearly have range. There's no way the enemy St. Louis could get outside of our range. You know, we're faster than it. Our range is like double his. It really is silly when you consider the huge range discrepancy between between some of these cruiser lines. We probably have like 4 kilometers on this guy. And he's showing a perfect broadside, so of course we're going to fire AP. And unfortunately, we undershoot just a little bit. And for a split second, I say, you know what? A broadside Congo is a much better target. So we just fire off a random salvo. But then it's like, you know what? The St. Louis probably can die. Whereas the Congo, not so much. There's not a lot of time left in this match, and let's just check out AP. And AP does 2,400. He's pretty angled, I would say, but it is a tier 3. I mean, the St. Louis is pretty cool, but it is a tier 3. Just come on, show your side. Give me a chance. Give me an opportunity to citadel your ship. Just do it. He's also, oh, there we go, Confederate. And he fires on my ship. Not gonna work. He has landed a little bit. We've got probably, oh man, we got like 5 seconds left in this match. Kill him! Everyone shoot him dead! Take him down! The torpedo bombers arrive just in the nick of time to do absolutely nothing. But that's the way it works with the carrier. You gotta time that stuff out. And the team won the match, which is fantastic. We earned Confederate 2 kills, base capture, 1,608 base XP. We did around 91,000 points of damage, and we got about 4K worth of fires, and we earned a couple Commander XP. But that's not all. We've got another game in the Königsberg, and it's on this map. The only difference is that we have Superintendent now. You will notice that Hydro and the Fighter have 1 extra charge each. That's because Superintendent. And that's probably because the last game, which the last game in the video was definitely not the last game. I actually had to play, what, 2 or 3 between these matches? I know, not every match is amazing. We did win every match, though, in the ship. And part of that is I just play the objective correctly. You know, defend bases that are under attack. Now, this Phoenix has showed up, and I decided rather than firing HE, I'm going to switch to AP. And the reason I'm doing that is the surprise factor. Yes, I'm detected, but he's not considering that I will be firing on him. Unfortunately, I miss. I don't lead enough. The Phoenix, the Omaha, the Murmansk, the Marblehead, all of these cruisers go pretty fast. I think they're like 35 knots, 36, 34.5. They're on the top end of cruiser speed. But eventually, we range him in and we're getting pretty good damage. 3,500 is not bad. I considered firing. I'm trying to adjust. We give sort of a lead prediction. It looks pretty good. Oh, yeah. That feels good. Fire behind the island. We do one quick check, and we get a citadel for 6,700. And that's just comfortable with the mechanics of the game, comfortable with the mechanics of the ship, and we get another citadel. Oh, man, he's barely, yeah, barely alive again, and oh, well, we pulled a Notser. I didn't mean to run into the island, it's just what happened. But since we're here, we might as well use it, right? It's tactical. It's a tactical Notser. We wanted to stop so we could engage the destroyer. I made sure I had HE loaded, and we led the target. Unfortunately, he was sailing a little slower. But dang it, the team did such a good job killing him. I didn't get any damage on him. And that other destroyer, the Gnevny, he's a possibility. And I let out just before he disappears. Still in flight. Come on, ribbon. Give us some reward. Oh, we hit one. A token. Just to say, you know what? You got close. You got close. Nice try. Nice try. Probably didn't do any damage. But you know what? You did something, right? Thanks, game. I really appreciate it. Just like you tell me I'm the last ship alive. And there's, what, 5 minutes left in the match? Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah. But the team captured A. The enemy captured B and C. Wow, this sort of looks like the last game, doesn't it? Yes, it does. And like the last game, we're going to move as a team towards B and try and hold 2 bases to their 1. It appears that the enemy team has a significant push near C. Maybe they're going to go for friendly aircraft carriers. I don't know. And there's an enemy Wyoming. He's not over here. He probably got off to a slow start. Maybe he just loaded in. But, again, there's an enemy battleship that is within range, near A. And I just fire a token shell. And, conveniently, the enemy destroyer shows back up. And I really wanted to fire at him. I love killing destroyers. We lose the friendly aircraft carrier. Not surprising. The enemy had already overrun his position. The aircraft carrier chose poorly. He chose to push a flank with absolutely no friendly ships, and that's not going to work out for him. So, right now, we are ahead. Or, no, we're behind. We're ahead. We're ahead. We're really ahead. Now we're behind. Okay, we're going to get back ahead. We're going to take out the Gnevny. I do one blind shot, or one quick shot, not blind. You actually saw the ship, Notser. Well, maybe I had my eyes closed, and based on the accuracy, yeah, maybe they were closed. But it's okay. It's okay, right? We just need to get in position and take advantage of it. The enemy aircraft carrier is recalling his torpedo bombers. Basically, it's leading us back to where he is. He's somewhere in the southwest quadrant of the map. But I'm not going to go after him. There's way too many enemy ships that are willing to show their side. They're putting pressure on not our rear, but eventually they will have a good side shot on a lot of friendly ships. We are so bunched up by C. Even B, you know, C looks a lot like B now. B is the point we're bunched up by. I know my alphabet. It's so I don't really like this. I don't like having such a huge concentration, because that tells me that a destroyer, a cruiser, a battleship could get into a position to take advantage of our lack of coverage, our lack of coordinated attack and protection. And just look at it, it's like a convoy. Just so many ships. Just, you know what? Let's drive on through B. Let's go to the south side of B. Let's go after that aircraft carrier. And I don't want to hit the Wyoming. I'm much thinner. I'm much more agile. And I'm going to use the agility to avoid running into the battleship. I saw something absolutely terrible, and maybe it's in this game, but I saw a battleship and a cruiser nose on each other, just pushing against each other for an extended period of time. It was absolutely terrible to see. And look, the enemy cruisers, they have pushed around the large island, and they can engage friendlies that are a little behind. So I decide, you know what? I'm not the hero that my team deserves, but I'm the hero that the team needs. And I need to cut this off at the pass. I gotta take these guys out, and the Omaha is my first target. Just show your side. Show your juicy side, my friend. Okay, well, it could have been better. 2,500 is pretty good, but no Citadel. And, oh, he's got another friend. It's the Kuma. Oh, the Kuma is stationary. Oh, poor Kuma. You know what happens to stationary targets. Oh, okay. 19,000, 5 Citadels. That's what's happened. And I'm sure he's never going to do that ever again, hopefully. You know, oh, he's going back into a broadside. Well, don't kill him. Don't touch him. There we go. Okay, we got another Citadel. We have 8 Citadels, and 6 of them are on the Kuma because he decided, you know what, we're going to go stationary. And the enemy, Svetlana, we're going to engage him, of course. He is almost broadside. AP is still going to do, yeah, 3,800. Good damage. But I would really like it if he would just turn north. Just turn north, just a hair. Don't be shy. We're here to work together, okay? He's firing on a friendly. And a friendly did a really big Citadel. I think he did like 10,000, but you know what? We have a better rate of fire, and we got the kill. Sort of karma paying us back for that aircraft carrier in the last game. And I have 2 targets. I can engage an Omaha that is 3 kilometers farther away, much lower, or I can engage a Königsberg, which is much closer. And initially I'm going, you know what, I'm just going to kill the Omaha so quick, he's going to show a perfect broadside, we're going to just Citadel and move on. But that's not how it's working out. And you just can't pass up a broadside target this close, especially a German cruiser. Where's the armor? There is no armor. And we undercut just a hair. But that's okay, and I want to be very cautious. You notice how I'm sort of wiggling? I'm not, there we go, nice, 4,600. I'm not willing to give him as much side as he's giving me. And eventually I was like, you know what? I can time the damage control to fall within a salvo hitting and maybe make me immune. And oh man, this is a huge mistake. Maybe he feels like, I can send my torpedoes. Well, we took out your propulsion. We Citadel'd you for 5,800. And the kill shot. 2 Citadels. Unfortunately, he sets us on fire. But I think we have plenty of health. If I can take out the Omaha before he damages me further, I think we have plenty of health to survive. And oh, nice. Not a Citadel, but 4,800 points of damage. We're going to miss with that salvo. Yep, straight into the water. And I really would like to kill this guy. I really would like to not take any more damage. Oh, what is with the low health targets, man? So many people could just come in and take the shot, but nobody's on this flank. It's me against basically all of these ships that chose to push. And we take them out. We're able to avoid any last salvo and stop the fire before it killed us. So yeah, the Königsberg is pretty good. German cruisers, Citadel broadside, yeah, 12 Citadels, 4 kills. That Kuma, though, you can't be stationary. I mean, everyone here knows. You can't be stationary and broadside against a target that is in the area. Maybe he underestimated my return action, but I think people should get used to players being a little bit more reactive to the enemy or your team's push. You can't just assume everyone's going to living all the way on the other side of the flank. And of course, we don't have enough time to kill a Congo. But I'd say that game was, it was really fun. We got 4 kills, 12 citadels. We earned 1,651 base XP. And we did around 90,000 points of damage. All AP, by the way. And how could you not, with so many cruisers willing to show their side? I hope you enjoyed these games. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I'll catch you next time.